To be precise, an apple had appeared on the table. Pioneers crowded in the doorway. I quickened my pace, trying not to be the last one in line, at least for the day. And I was lucky. In the far corner was an absolutely empty table. I took my dinner quickly and sat at the table. The next dinner consisted of fruit soup and a pair of buns. This set surprised me at first, but the taste was actually nice. I concentrated on eating. Lena, let's go here, look through your fridge, yes! Lena and Miku stood in front of me. Are these taken? Wondered Lena. No, take a seat. Of course, I wish you were here alone. Thank you. As soon as Lena said that, Zahana jumped out from behind her bag. I'll sit here, there's no place left, she said, putting her tray on the table and sitting down, not even waiting for my answer. Sure. Make yourself at home. I muttered sorrowfully. What? Nothing. To tell the truth, I wanted to reduce the whole company to just Lena, though neither Miku nor Zena were causing much trouble. Except one was too talkative and the other was too arrogant. Nevertheless, they were absolutely harmless, especially comparing them to some others I could name. Oh, seems like I forgot my key. Oh, don't worry, take mine. I was surprised by Miku's short reply. Do you live together? Of course, didn't you know? Together, our cabinet is rearmost, the farthest from here, the last one. I wouldn't have been surprised if somebody told me that Lena lived with Slavia, or with Zahana at worst, even electronic. But silent and shy Lena, and excessively talkative Miku as a pair. That's really a surprise. Did you find Trick? The strange Zahana is disturbed by someone else's problems. No. Surely he's at the village buying cigarettes. Or vodka. She snorted. Village? At that moment, the conversation got more interesting. Got a problem with villages? Zahana looked amazed. You mean there's a village nearby? I think so, she said uncertainly. I looked at Lena and Miku, but they were busy with their meals and did not pay attention to our conversation. You mean you don't know exactly? Why should I care? Zahana stared at her dish. But there must be something nearby. Listen. Listener? I don't know. Will you let me eat? Seems like I won't get anything from her. Well, there is a chance that she really doesn't know. The remaining time was spent listening to Miku talk about some nonsense. I was just going slowly mad in silence. Wow, you were very mean to Miku. Miku is nice. She's an icon. Really. Obviously, the first thing I did after getting out after that was inhale a great breath of fresh air. The sun was setting. I decided to take a walk. It's highly unlikely that I'll find anything more exciting to do for the rest of the evening. That way something interesting could arise quite unexpectedly. I was approaching the square when I heard a loud bang. It seemed like something had exploded. I was paralyzed. I'm in a hostile environment, not knowing the rules and laws of this place. It would be better for me to run, but at the same time I was curious. Probably I would have just kept standing there, but somebody grabbed my hand. It was Olga Dimitrovna. Why are you standing here? Let's go and see what happens. Can't you ever manage without me? I begged her pitifully. It shouldn't be anything serious, I hope. When we came to the square, there was already a crowd of pioneers. Olga Dimitrovna vigorously pushed through the crowd and approached the crime scene. Obviously, someone had tried to blow up Genda. But the attackers failed. The monument was still up, standing upright. There were only dim ash traces on the pedestal. Well, who did this? Surely it wasn't done by an organized terrorist organization. These guys all came here just to look at what happened. I noticed all young and Alyssa in the crowd. It looks like our camp leader noticed them too. You two, come here. They approached reluctantly. Why always me? If you think so. Show me your hands, Devechevskaya. What's wrong with them? I looked closer and saw that they were smeared with black. Now it's clear. What did you make a bomb with? The junior terrorist seemed to hesitate over whether or not to confess, but then blurted out proudly, activated carbon, saltpeter, and sulfur. Why exactly the monument? What did this honored man ever do to you? The fighter for the rights of... Besides, he gave me activated carbon. She pointed at me with her finger. The whole square stared at me. Thoughts about the pointlessness of this act due to the small bomb size left me at that very moment. She stole it. I did nothing. Even if he gave it to you, I'm sure that someone would never take part in such a disgusting antisocial act. Yes, exactly, I agreed. I could hardly imagine how long she would have kept on scolding Alyssa if Electronic hadn't popped out at that very moment shouting, I found it! Everyone turned toward him. He held a boot in his hand. Here! Electronic boastfully shook it over his head. It's Truick's boot! Oh, okay, calm down. Tell us in detail where you found it. In the forest. On the way to the old camp. Whispers ran among the pioneers. Old camp. Are you sure? Absolutely. What's so special about this old camp? I joined in the conversation. It's nothing special, really, she stammered. One of the Soviet legends tells the story of a young camp leader's ghost living there. She fell in love with a pioneer, but he rejected her love, and so she killed herself. She committed a harakiri with the kitchen knife. Next day, that boy was hit by a bus. Oh yeah, I ran out of the crowd. A bus? I refrained from asking about the route number. But science doesn't acknowledge the existence of ghosts, so we have nothing to be afraid of. Anyway, someone should go there. Suddenly the crowd started to thin out. Olga Dimitrievna, it's almost night. Maybe tomorrow? I turned around and saw Slavia and Lena. What if at night something happens to him? No, today, right now. By the way, where is this place? Electronic roughly described to me the directions and told me the story of the old camp. The camp leader looked at me attentively. If you think that you're the only man here. I looked around the area. Of course. Electronic was quick to flee. I still didn't want to walk through the woods alone. If you asked me, I would go with Alyssa, go with Slavia, go with Alina, go with Lena, go alone. I have already said that we're going with Alyssa, so it has to be a thing. There's still a long way to be played that I've already played. Let's see, I get to the mines, and then I said fuck it, and then I realized all of my footage was fucked up, so that's how far I have to go. And Devechevskaya goes with you. It was as if Olga Dimitrievna had read my mind. Why is that? Well, who tried to blow up the monument? And as if it went bad enough, who tried to slam the Soviet? She said in such a voice that Alyssa didn't dare to argue. Happy now? She blurted once we were left alone. What do I have to do with this? Was it me who tried to blow up the monument? Alyssa grunted and turned away. I'm not going anywhere with you. Oh, please, don't. Great then. Excellent. We stood silently for a while, not looking at each other. I dared break the silence first. Is that all? All what? All that you wanted to tell me. Yes, that's all. Do you mind, then, if I inquire why you tried to blow up the monument? I was bored. Ah, right, blowing it up would have definitely cheered you up. Alyssa seemed really reluctant to go with me. As for me, however, I've decided to find Shrek after all. It wasn't him who interested me the most, but the abandoned camp. For some reason, I had a feeling that I might find out something there. And I really did not like the idea of going alone at night. So, you scared then? Are you daring me? She gave me a sarcastic smile. Oh no, I never. Good luck if you're staying then. I turned around and started walking in the direction where the old camp should have been. Alyssa caught up with me at the forest edge. Wait up! I'm going with you. Why'd you deign to change your mind all of a sudden? I asked ironically. You don't need to know. She snarled and handed me a flashlight. That was quite wise. I don't know what I would have done if they're alone in the dark if it wasn't for Alyssa. Electronica told us the old building was built right after the war. It looked like a kindergarten, or like a barracks, I expected, and definitely could hold fewer pioneers than today's camp. It had been abandoned for about 20 years. The night forest was completely unlike during the day. Just a couple of hours ago, it seemed like just a small grove, where even a blind man wouldn't get lost. However, as the darkness fell, the trees seemed to grow up. The bushes suddenly took up all the free space, and the paths, so wide in daylight, turned into barely visible waves in the dark green forest ocean. The final strokes in this picture were the birds, the insects, and the beasts, who were giving a concert, each with its own instrument, creating together an amazing yet frightening nocturnal symphony. We walked slowly, Alice a bit ahead of me in her wake, We walked slowly, Alyssa a bit ahead and me in her wake, trying not to fall too far behind. She acted self-assured to a fault. Absolutely not like me. Every rustle of the bushes nearby or hoot of an owl overhead made me cringe and look around timidly. Of course, it was obvious that there was not much to fear here. The local woods weren't likely to be teeming with wild beasts, and it seemed that there were no people at all in this world apart from those in the camp. However, the fear was there on the instinctive level, and I tried to walk carefully and stay as watchful as I could. Discretion is the better part of valor, after all. Alyssa stopped suddenly. So suddenly that I nearly bumped into her. Now where? What? Well, line straight ahead, I guess. Are you sure? I tried to figure out the directions. It looks like we're going the right way. Or at least, the way suggested by electronic. However, without a map, without a GPS or GLONASS navigation, I wasn't even sure that we were still on the same planet, wherever it was. We haven't taken any turns, we've been walking straight forward all the time, just as electronic said. And why haven't we made it to the old camp yet? How should I know? Alyssa's rude way of talking was already getting on my nerves. Are we already lost? Why would you say that? We were barely a kilometer away from camp. So what? She looked visibly sadder. So nothing. If you don't like it, you can go back. Alyssa eyed me disappointedly for a while, and then her face changed sharply. Well, I will then. She suddenly turned around and started marching briskly towards the camp. Good luck there, I shouted as she was going. However, Alyssa may be right, and we are in fact lost, in which case it's not a good idea to stay here alone. The cool night breeze blew stronger and I shivered. But going after her would mean losing face, even worse, admitting that she's right. No, I'm not ready to accept that. I could have probably spent until morning arguing with myself about this, if it weren't for Alyssa's scream. My legs carried me on their own towards where she went. About 20 meters on, I nearly fell into a hole, just managing to jump over it at the last moment. As for Alyssa, it looked like she had managed to. I was about to point the flashlight into the darkness when I realized that she'd taken it with her. Well, that had to be expected. Are you alive? Yeah. Her muffled voice sounded up from below. Did you break anything? Hell if I know, idiot. A light flickered in the hole. I stepped closer and bent to it to examine how deep it was. crumbling hole went about 3 meters into the depths. It was pitch black below. "Help me get out!" Melissa yelled angrily. "And how do you imagine I should do that?" "I don't know, think of something." "Well, what do you see now? Describe it." "Well, it's sort of a tunnel and... just a tunnel." "Tunnel? That's weird." "Come on, get down here." "Is that the best idea you have? I'd rather run to the camp for a rope." "You're gonna leave me alone here?" Melissa's voice lost much of its impudence. "We were alone down there anyway." "Hey!" She cried out loud and directed the flashlight right into my eyes. "What? Don't panic. Trolls aren't gonna eat you there. I'll be back in a flash." Melissa was screaming herself into a fit from down below, but I couldn't make out the words. However, I only managed to take a few steps before the ground yielded under my feet. Before I knew it, I was tumbling down. I grabbed a thin root that somehow slowed down my fall, but it snapped under my weight and went flying down with me. You're alive? Where are we? I don't know, but we have to get out of here.